There is a fundamental misunderstanding of what it means to be a Yonko. Just like the bounty system, it's not a direct indicator of power level. The word Yonko literally means four emperors, and you can't be an emperor by yourself. That's why Mihawk was never a Yonko, despite being the world's strongest swordsman. Think about it. Is Mihawk equal to Shanks? Yes. Is Mihawk equal to Shanks plus the rest of his crew? Absolutely not. That's the difference. So in this video, let's determine who are true Yonkos, and not just strong characters. There are 5 main factors to become a Yonko. Be a top tier fighter, have a top tier crew, a grand fleet, territory in the new world, and most importantly, being a threat to the world government's authority. Now you don't have to have all 5. A combination of 3 or more is enough. With that criteria in mind, let's look at who are true Yonkos. To start, let's look at characters that existed before the word Yonko was even established. These pirates was known as the Great Pirates, starting with Kozuki Oden. As a baby, he judo flipped his nanny. At age 6, he went to Amsterdam's red light district. At 9, he went to Vegas to gamble. At 15, he had his own harem. Thinking about it, why the fuck is Oda writing CP fanfiction? Anyway, after sailing the world, he returned to Wano, only to find Orochi, with the help of Kaido, took over the capital. After getting scammed for 5 years dancing, Oden, with only his retainers, the 9 Red Scabbards, went out to free the country. That was 10 men versus an army that had Kaido. And they almost won, if it wasn't some BS from Higurashi. Oden was the rightful shogun of Wano. If he just used his brain for 10 seconds, he could have assembled the entire country of Wano. I'm talking the other daimyos, an army of samurai, a young Moria. In the span of 5 years, he could have called the Whitebeard Pirates, or Rayleigh, or Scopper. All of this would have been more than enough to defeat Kaido. He spent 5 years hitting the greedy for nothing. Oden is the GOAT, but my god is he dumb. If he did any of this, he could have opened the borders of Wano, unlocked the ancient weapon Pluton, and became a Yonko. Next, we have the Pirate King, Gold D. Roger. Obviously, he and his crew are top tier, seeing how they constantly clash against Prime Whitebeard and Prime Garp. There is no question about it. But the thing is, he doesn't have a grand fleet or any territory in the New World. And you might say he doesn't need one. And you'd be right. The closest thing to allies would be the Kuja pirates. But that's only because Gloriosa sims for Roger, who sims for Shaki, and who in turn sims for Rayleigh. For our last criteria, Roger was never a direct threat to the world government. Unlike Rox, Kaido, or Blackbeard, his goal was never to destroy or replace the world government. Just like Luffy, Roger wanted to be Pirate King not to rule over the world, but to be the freest man on the planet. Irregardless, by seeking the One Piece and studying the Void Century, he became an existential threat and would have been labeled a Yonko. So Roger is a Yonko, but Rayleigh and Scopper are not. They're the same as Mihawk. If they establish their own pirate crews, they're more than capable to be Yonkos. But instead, after Roger's death, they both retired and just focused on clapping cheeks. Speaking about clapping cheeks, Rox D. Sebek, whose entire crew was established by running the Fade. I'm talking Prime Whitebeard, Prime Body Charlotte Linlin, the up-and-comer Kaido, and the Golden Lion Shiki. He beat all of them with no devil fruit, relying on pure aura alone. Not to mention younger Rox, who by himself infiltrated Marijua, killed an admiral, threatened Imu, did a drive-by haki clash against Harold, and destroyed one of the gates of justice. Rox had 3 future Yonkos in his crew with a hidden fort. Shiki the Golden Lion. After the God Valley incident, he commanded the largest pirate fleet at the time, and used that fleet to almost defeat Roger. In the Battle of Edward, Shiki had Roger surrounded with a massive fleet, and based on the narrative, it is very likely that Roger would have lost. If it wasn't for the weather sinking half of Shiki's fleet, it's quite possible it would be him who became Pirate King. If that wasn't enough evidence, when Roger was captured, Shiki went to Marineford by himself, facing off in a 2v1 against Prime Garp and Prime Sengoku. He eventually lost, but only after destroying half of Marineford. He was sent to level 6 of Impel Down and is the only one who escaped by himself. Now moving on from the past, let's look at who in the present could be Yonko. Monkey D. Dragon. Besides technically not being pirates, I'm surprised they aren't a Yonko yet. His main crew has Sabo in it. Sabo managed to infiltrate Marijua, see Imo and the Gorosei, and managed to escape. Besides Rocks and technically Wapol, nobody else has done this. While this was happening, Karasu, Morley, and Lindbergh was freeing slaves and fighting two admirals. Even if the admirals couldn't fight at full power, Fujitora did acknowledge Karasu for being strong, and the fact that none of them was injured is a feat on its own, with Ivankov and Belobetti being capable leaders themselves. The Revolutionary Army has always opposed the world government directly. They made an effort to free slaves like in To Kill a Wolf, where they saved Robin and taught her fishman karate. Their greatest accomplishment is being able to siege Marijua itself, causing a massive blockade that could possibly starve the celestial dragons, while also leading a massive revolt where several kingdoms openly opposed the world government. This is the greatest threat to the world government since Rox himself. The last true candidate to being a Yonko is Loki, quite possibly the strongest character in all of One Piece, with the potential to surpass Roger, Whitebeard, and even Zebek, an ancient giant, Prince of Elbaf. He wields the legendary hammer Ragnir. He ate Elbaf's treasured fruit, the Dragon Fruit Model Needhugger, which allows him to transform into a dragon so huge he makes Kaido look like a small lizard. His greatest feats include him being able to defeat a roided up Harold and spending years on a rampage. It took Shanks himself to capture him, a feat so amazing it solidified his role as a Yonko. But no matter how strong he already is, he has no crew, he has no fleet, and he has no territory. What could make him a Yonko instantly is if he becomes king of Elbaf. Elbaf is considered the strongest island in the world. The reason the previous King Harold wasn't a Yonko is because he actually tried to join the world government. Elbaf, with an army of giants led by Dory, Brogy, and Jarul, is so strong it doesn't matter who the king is. If Hadruden became king and declared war on the world government, instant Yonko. If Usopp became king, instant Yonko. That's just how strong the island is. So those are the characters that I think are true Yonkos. That's why characters like Garp, Sengoku, Mihawk, Kid, Law, those characters are not Yonko. Because by definition, they are all strong fighters, but they lack the other criteria to be considered a Yonko.